Long track. I feel like everyone, every she's like, I got it. I got it. So remember when we did Newsies and it was the Wednesday before the second week of shows? We just kind of like we were off the rails. We were all kind of tired and we just kind of screwed around. Yeah.
That was also one was Footloose. Footloose, we were like the second Wednesday we were all just. I remember the Footloose one being
It was
not
so,
good.
it was not because
I know,
Jeffrey was playing different times on the piano. Ishmael was changing sounds. We had kind of
Yeah,
got the hit.
like
We got
when it's we're still doing all the right stuff, but we're goofy. Like I can deal with that, but there was so many things with Footloose that I was like, holy crap, was this anti-all right? We're apparently streaming. Okay, whew, that was easy.
Oh, I should get you a better chair.
Well, people will just look forward to wrapping up things.
Oh yeah, that's right. We need our branding. Very good. He's very on the ball. Oh my gosh, who keeps on doing this? Oh, you may want to pick that up a little bit too. So we've got kind of short to tall people here, so shorter people maybe at that microphone. It's from Uncle Bill's, the one-night stand we had with John Wilson and Uncle Bill. We did it, yeah, it was one of the first things that was done there. Well, the first, but it was one of the, it was only open for a year, I guess, so. Like it's not even a year.
The whole time, I'm just gonna. Yeah, so what's this? What's this?
I'm sorry, no.
Okay.
We get it, Olivia.
It's a doorbell.
Zip your lips.
You did it.
I believe you.
All right. So, like clockwork.
Not too worried about it.
So easy. All right, man, you are really high up there.
I'm sorry. Can I lower it without speaking it?
No, I don't think you can.
Is
It's
it
at
as low as?
the furthest it could be.
I can just kneel the whole time.
Right. If you would, that might be better now that I think about it.
Yeah, that's not helpful.
No, I don't. We put this whole thing into place so we could hear it, but apparently not today.
What about this one?
No.
Also,
Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon. Welcome to Community Comment video streaming today under the video tab at dailydodge.com. And we have a full house here today. Half a dozen folks from the Beaver Dam Area Community Theater are joining us to talk about their new high school summer production. We've got, starting off this first segment, the director, longtime director now, I want to say the first director of the high school series, Mark Lefebvre. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
You can clap if you want. We're not used to having a studio audience, so, whoop it up, I guess, if you want. We might as well take advantage of this whole thing. And they do tend to be a little theatrical,
Just
the
a little bit.
youngsters.
Just
so
a little bit, yeah.
nothing too wrong with that. The high school musical tier, it's not really part of the Teletale, but there's 3 youth troupes at the Beaver Dam Area Community Theater. We'll have them all here over the next week or so. The next month or so. We'll have the middle school kids, and then we'll have the youngest kids. That's, I want to say, 3rd through 6th grade or something
Third
like
through
that.
5th,
3rd
yeah.
through 5th. So great opportunity for kids to learn a little bit about the theater in a beautiful facility with a great director.
Well, I don't know
You
about that.
can applaud it. Even fake sentiment
Only if
like
they
that
agree.
is- yeah.
Only if they agree. Yeah. No, it's been great. I think this is our 5th year doing this, the area high school show. Last year COVID shut down our 4th attempt at it. But yeah, well, happy to keep show going.
What is the show this year? Is it the same one you were going to do last summer?
No, we decided to go in a different direction. We're doing a show called Working, and it's a musical, but it's not your typical through plot show. Each character sort of comes out, does their thing, and then they move on. So they're based off of the scenes and the songs are based off of a book by Chicago broadcaster Studs Terkel.
Oh, Studs Circle, sure. Yeah.
And so he wrote a book interviewing just Chicagoans about their jobs. And Stephen Schwartz, the guy who wrote Wicked and Godspell, those musicals, he sort of got a team together and he set a bunch of them to music, took some of them and just represented them as monologues. And so each character that comes out, they either, give their monologue and tell you a little bit about who they are and what they do, or maybe they come out, they sing a song, again, sort of telling you about their life, whatever it's like, and they go on. So I think there's one character that kind of is in the beginning, a little bit at the middle, and at the end, but otherwise, everybody kind of comes out, does their thing, and moves on.
So it's like a series of one-person shows.
Yeah, sometimes it's 2 or 3 people, but yeah, for the most part, we do have. That's not saying there's only one student on stage at a time. We've got plenty of high-energy choreography. There's ensemble pieces as well, but usually it's focused around one person.
And do these kids have any idea who Studs Terkel is? Or are you familiar with Stud Terkel's work before this?
I was not familiar with Studs Terkel.
I'm not the foremost authority on Studs Terkel or anything.
But I feel like he was a broadcaster, so I feel
Pulitzer
like it's
Prize-winning
closer to
journalist who was a broadcaster, who was a writer, who but definitely Chicago. I'm from Chicago, so you guys are kind of now stuck with having to give.
Boy,
but
the Chicago
truly
Cubs
authentic.
play baseball there.
They do. Yes, that's where they're from.
And
if you guys were unfamiliar with that, there's another team called the White Sox too, but
we don't like them.
Yeah, no, we don't care much for them.
We've got one of our guest members is a big fan of Chicago sports, and
Uh-oh.
I accidentally said that he should bring a White Sox jersey, and he was like, "How dare you?" He's a Cubs fan.
We
so.
don't take kindly to your kind around here. But he is authentically Chicago. But he's also a very authentic journalist. And I did not realize he did this. I did not realize he was behind it. But it so fits into my knowledge of him because this is the exact type thing he does, where he spotlights the humanity of individuals and brings that out.
Yeah, it is weird directing this show because it's almost nonfiction in a way. I suppose to make sure that listeners and viewers know, like, there is some language in this show that typically in a high school show we would remove. But part of me, since these were based off of these real-life interviews, I didn't want to necessarily clean those up because that's not what that person felt. So we are advising parental guidance. If you've got any children, or you're the parent, you know what's best for your kid.
PG-13-ish, it sounds like.
There's some words
between R
I
and
think,
PG.
I think we'd get in trouble if I said those words
Okay,
on here.
We do not ask you to repeat them. Ben.
Right.
Laughter from the audience is always appreciated too, even if they're failed jokes.
But yeah, so there's that authenticity to it. So it's different than like, what do you think this character might think? Like, it's more digging down, like, what would a human who has that job, what would they do? Or, and there are some videos of the initial interviews, so some of the students are able to take a look at that. I tried a little bit to get students reaching out to people who have the profession that they're portraying to see, like, what's it like. Because with a few exceptions, most of these students are playing, as they often do in high school theater, they're playing much older than they are. Sometimes it's a year or two. Cohen, who's going to be on in a little bit, he's playing a retiree. A senior in high school pretending to be a retiree, like that's a gap. So, trying to step into those shoes, and not in a fictitious way necessarily. We're trying to present authentic, real characters. Obviously, some artistic license was taken to make words, rhyme, but still, they tried to get that sentiment across from those real interviews.
Is this a musical?
It is, yeah. So there is some music to it. If people saw the last show I directed was Songs for New World at Beaver Dam High School, that was all songs all the way through. This one is a mix of songs and usually monologues. A student comes out and sort of just tells their story about whatever job they have. Then yeah, it'll go from, you've got a big opening number, and then one guy comes out and he tells us what it's like being a steel worker, and then moves into, got 4 or 5 people come out on stage and they work in an office, and then we're into another song, and got delivery workers delivering food, and the number of things that feel like they took on new light because of the pandemic, like delivery workers, you probably, I don't know, didn't think too much about the importance of delivery, and then the pandemic hit and everything was delivery, right? So like that's fun, and it's a fun upbeat number, and I don't know, like it's cool. Like I feel like the show weaves together really well. 100 minutes of musical theater entertainment.
What is the reason you chose this particular piece?
So really it was because of the pandemic. Even 2-3 months ago, we were in a different state of concern of things. The CDC hadn't released that guidance. I know for a bunch of people sort of affected things, saying, right, if you're vaccinated, you can pretty much kind of get back to normal. That wasn't out. I was teaching in the district, and we still had our mask policies. We were still, subject to distance rules. So as I'm trying to figure out a show, like I can't just pick a show now for what to do this weekend. I've got planned, 3-6 months out in advance. In this show, because it's segmented like that, there's no through story, each individual could be on stage by themselves, or the choreography, as things relax, we did let students get a little closer, but you'll see that there is probably more space than there typically would be in a show between the students. We're trying to keep them, we were trying to keep people safe, and obviously we still are. We're not, reckless or anything now, but as people got a little bit more comfortable, we were able to ease things, bring things closer. So you'll notice the students will be wearing masks for the show, but again, contrasting to the last show that I directed, Songs for New World, we're wearing chin clear masks. So they base off the chin and then cover the mouth to help that out. But it's so nice being able to see the students' full face for expression, because so much of what we do in theater is expressing ourselves through our faces. And when you only get eyes to do that, it's hard. So most of the students have these clear face shields on, so they're able to express a little bit more. But that's why I picked it. I don't think I probably would typically have picked working for a high school show. Like I said, taking on adults is a little tricky, and everybody in the show is an adult, maybe 1 or 2 exceptions. But I'm really happy with the work that the students did on the show. The way that they're presenting these characters, jumping into these, and full out, and before we went on air today, the students are talking about, backstage, they're dancing to these other songs, and they're, listening to each other, cheering each other on. I was saying you should take videos backstage, show me what's going on, but we also tell them don't have your phones backstage so that you don't miss your
so conflicting advice is what you're
right.
giving.
That
must be very helpful.
I want to see it, but I also have to see the show.
So how does that impact rehearsal? Because, one of the things about the theater, as I understand it, not really being a huge theater person, is that there's a certain camaraderie that develops backstage. There's a lot of downtime. There's a lot of getting together and meeting new people and making friends and simple things like that. With all of these social distancing plans in place, and just the fact that everything's so segmented, are they even rehearsing on the same days?
The first, I think, 2.5 weeks, no. We It was, we pushed everything back. All the schools were putting so many things into April and May. Usually we get started about halfway through April. We pushed it back to May is when we got started this time. And as such, like, we had to push so much material into those 2 weeks. So I would be teaching music in one space in the theater, and my assistant director, Amy Friedel, would be directing a different scene in a different area. And then our choreographer would have a bunch of people. John Dobratz from, he's Mayville High School choir director. He would be teaching choreography in another space. So we'd have essentially 3 rehearsals going on simultaneously in different places so that we could get that going. But I will say, like, one of the things I love about this show is the students coming together from the different communities. And it was a little hard because I feel like it took until maybe honestly like this week, maybe a little bit late last week, for the students to really start feeling comfortable getting to know one another. People would sit distanced in the audience. They wanted to be, being smart and being safe. And, so it was harder to, like, let's talk at each other, let's get to know each other from 6 feet apart. So, but in the last week, and I can tell, going into performances here, the students are starting to really click and connect. And I feel like you can see it on stage, too. Like, the show is starting to really lock together. There was some songs last night where I was like, that is hands down the best I've heard that one. And maybe it's all the rehearsals, maybe it's the students just feeling comfortable on stage, with their friends.
Yeah, and these aren't kids from the Beaver Dam High School. Some of them may be.
Mhm.
This is not a Beaver Dam High School production. This is a Beaver Dam area community theater production. You're able to cast a wider net.
Yeah, we do. We've got, I think 10, 11 schools involved this year. Down from our heights with Newsies, but I feel like that title is just gonna bring people into to audition for the show. But yeah, we've got people coming in. Got 3 from Sun Prairie. We've got 4 from Randolph this year. I think we've had somebody from Randolph every year we've done the show, but having 4 this year is exciting. I mentioned Mayville's choir directors choreographing.
Choreography?
Doing the choreography.
Ah.
That sounds good.
Elmer Fudd, when in doubt.
Right. There's so he's got we got 3 students coming in from Mayville as well. So, and then Columbus, Horicon, Dodgeland, Wayland Academy, people from all over coming out to do the show. So,
And again, if you're joining us on AM 1430 WBEV, we are video streaming today under the video tab at dailydodge.com. So the pandemic has kind of forced you to have a different approach to the selection and the rehearsal of this. What is it going to be like for the audience?
So for the audience, it's going to be live streamed production. I don't know if it's a fully community theater policy, or at least it was something that they talked through with me. Essentially, what we decided at auditions is what we were going to stick with. So though we might be comfortable having an in-person audience right now, at auditions, we told the cast we're not going to have an in-person, and we're not going to have a public in-person audience. So that's what we stuck with. There will be some, if you join us on the live stream, you will hopefully hear some audience members. What was decided is that we'd only have household family of the cast, crew, and orchestra participating showing up in the audience. So everybody else will be watching live stream from the comfort of their own home, and the tickets are available. If you go to the BDACT website, you can find a link to the tickets. They're $20. So if you're listening in today, if you don't already have an in-person ticket, and you probably have a connection, you live with somebody in the cast or the crew or the orchestra, a live stream ticket will be $20, but that's as many people as you can fit in your house comfortably, whatever guidelines you're following right now. So $20 per household. And you can live stream it. There are some directions if you look on our frequently asked questions page about how you can, if you got the right kind of setup, you can get that to like cast onto your big screen TV or whatever, but got to make sure you got the right kind of equipment to make that happen.
A lot of our listeners on Daily Dodge that may be watching the video stream right now, that is, we have information of how to get ours up onto, to cast it up on a bigger screen or something like that, and you can find it on our video tab right now. In fact, it is a step or two, but it's really not that hard. It's not overly complicated. It's certainly within reach.
Absolutely. Like it might look daunting when you take a look at the wall of text, but often in my experience, it's if you have this type of device, use this one. If you have it, but when you just look at the wall of text, it does look like a lot. So we hope that people will be able to tune in. Like I said, $20. Link is on the BDACT website. Otherwise, I think you can get there directly with tinyurl.com/working tickets.
All right, fantastic. 920-885-4446, that phone number if you've got a question or comment for any of our guests today. The the show itself is live streamed. This is not something that would be video podcasted where people can go back and watch it later. When does it hit the live stream?
So it'll be Thursday through Saturday at 7:30, and then Sunday at 2.
Excellent.
So got to see it then.
That is it, live. You
Live
catch it
stream.
live, or you don't get it at all.
Exactly. 3 camera setup, so we'll have multiple angles going on. It's not just like one still camera. We'll get some close-ups. You'll be able to see what's going on.
Excellent, very good. We have to take a break. We're going to start bringing the kids in here, and before we let the whole program end, we'll bring Mark back here to kind of recap everything for us. But it is working. It is on the stage via video stream, again, starting tomorrow. You said, if I'm not mistaken, running through Thursday. I should have been listening when you actually verbalized the words. That might have been helpful. A $20 ticket, and when you want to go to the Community Theater's website.
Community theater website will
bdact.org. Excellent, very good. We'll take a break. We'll be back here in just a few minutes. Hey, for some reason, the headphone thing stopped working. Does Kraft control that in any way? He changed the switcher, the remote switcher, so that he can get our signal. All right, so who is up next?
Is it still streaming?
I think so.
It is.
It's just so weird. None of them are working, it's just static. So weird. It's like working up until 25 after. What's that? Well, I mean, it stopped working when I changed out the headphones. I put the smaller ones in instead of the big center.
Doesn't feel like this is getting.
The thing I did was increase a third microphone.
And as a soldier, I get to give back to the people that helped me succeed. The training and leadership skills I get from the Army National Guard help me every day when I teach young people and look out for my community. If you'd like to learn how you too can serve part-time in the community you love, visit nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard, aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Having a baby is a special moment in your life. Prairie Ridge Health will work with you on your birthing plan, so it's the moment you've dreamed of. From the moment you find out you're expecting to the moment you deliver your baby, Prairie Ridge Health is there with knowledgeable, compassionate, and personalized care. Over 70 major insurances accepted, including Dean. Remember, Prairie Ridge Health has clinics in Columbus, Marshall, and Beaver Dam. Visit prairieridge.health for more information. Prairie Ridge Health, inspired by you.
Shouldn't sound too bad. Okay.
White or wheat, classic or old-fashioned, with or without sesame seeds. With so many choices, selecting the right one for perfectly grilled burgers, hot dogs, and brats can seem overwhelming. Baked right here in the Midwest, the Bakers at Village Hearth made your choice easy. As long as you see the familiar Village Hearth logo on the package, you know you're selecting the freshest, most flavorful buns available. Village Hearth Buns, baking our best for you.
So it's F-E-I-L, is it?
Chad at Air Care in Beaver Dam says he's got an air conditioner for your home that sips electricity. You may have heard the commercials about the Carrier furnace that sips gas and saves you money. Well, the electricity sipping Carrier air conditioner, along with the gas sipping furnace, will save you money during the warm weather. It works together with a thermostat that communicates with the air conditioner and the blower on your furnace, telling them exactly when to sip the least amount of energy needed to keep you comfortable. Think of the thermostat like the conductor of a symphony orchestra. But rather than a beautiful symphony, you're getting an incredible level of home comfort, quietness, and dehumidification. There's even a smartphone app that allows you to be the conductor of the orchestra right from your phone. Turn to the experts, Air Care and Carrier. Find them at aircareinc.com or call Chad at Air Care in Beaver Dam, 920-356-8860. Financing is available.
Hi, this is Stacy from Slumberland Furniture in Beaver Dam and Watertown, the girl next door with a big box store. Get comfy. Here comes your weather.
Here's a look at your Weatherology Forecast. Partly sunny skies this afternoon as we warm into the mid-70s. We have a chance for a developing shower and thunderstorm. South winds breezy. Tonight, cloud cover will drop to a low in the mid-60s. South winds 10 to 15. I'm meteorologist Mandy Falhuber on your hometown station, AM 1430 WBEV. Currently 72.
Check out the Dodge County Sheriff's Office Most Wanted on dailydodge.com. Brought to you by QBS Law.
It is 5 minutes past 1 o'clock, AM 1430 WBEV. We now return you to Community Comment.
Well, thank you very much, and welcome back to Community Comment. Our guests are with the Beaver Dam Area Community Theater high school production of Working, which hits the video stream stage tomorrow and runs through Sunday at bdact.org. We've got two guests joining us from Working here in this segment. Summer File is from Randolph, and Reese Vache is from Columbus. Thank you very much for joining us today, guys.
Hi, yeah, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So it is Working. This is an opportunity for you guys to participate in theater in the summer. Is this, even though this isn't directed towards summer, this is directed toward both of you, but this is an opportunity for you guys between semesters and whatnot to be part of the theater. Is theater something you guys have been doing before this production?
Yeah, I've been doing theater and dance for quite a while. It's always been something that I've really enjoyed.
Excellent, very good. And how about yourself, Reese?
Yeah, same for me. I
Ooh.
was...
No, keep talking.
All right, that's my bad. I've always been interested in theater. I've done like dance and stuff since I was really little, but then theater was really something that I was able to do, especially once I got into high school.
Excellent, very good. So, Summer, tell us a little bit about your role in Working.
All right, well, I play character. Her name is Amanda McKenney, and she is a project manager. Like, she works in an office, and yeah, she pretty much just does like a day-to-day office job. I wouldn't say that she really enjoys her job, but she also doesn't hate it. Like, it's just something that she's doing, a way to make money. She has a line in there that's like, this is just my first job of many. Like, you know, she's young. She's just gonna keep doing this job as long as she can until she gets a better job, pretty much.
Have you spent much time in the working world at your young age?
Not really. I've had a job at a Subway for like about a year, but like I haven't done any like thing like this.
Wait a second, with a name like File, shouldn't you be working in a supper club somewhere? It seems like that would just be something, either way. So how is that to bring the idea of the experience of having worked in the working world when you might not have ever worked in an office before?
It's definitely kind of a challenge, especially because I don't have any like, experience in that professional world. So you really gotta like go into the character development and really think about like what would this character do, instead of like, since I don't have much to bring from my own life. So it's a lot of like characterization, I'd say.
Did you talk to office workers as part of this?
I actually have not, but I've listened to like the interviews, the original interviews.
You did?
Yeah.
With Studs Terkel?
Yep.
Okay, what did you think of them?
I thought they were pretty good. It helped me kind of get a sense of like how to portray Amanda.
Interesting. And Amanda, how old is Amanda?
It doesn't say her exact age. I'd say she's like
mid to late 20s.
Okay, because these are audio recordings that Studs
Yeah.
Terkel would have done. And were all the actors given the opportunity, I guess this is an off-mic question, an opportunity to hear the original interviews, whether they did or not?
We shared the link on, it was a YouTube link.
Great, okay, very good. So what was the hardest part of this?
Well, I would say for me, it was doing like this through like the acting part, like really bringing the character to life, because, well, I'm a dancer first, you know, I've mostly just been ensemble in like all the shows I've been in, and so getting like a role like this to really be able to bring like an actual character to life was a lot different for me, and I feel like that was a challenge, and I think I've found a good way to really bring her to life.
Excellent, very good. Again, we're video streaming under the video tab at dailydodge.com if you want to watch this from the Daily Dodge television studios in addition to listening or watch back later. Reese Vache, Columbus graduate. Reese, tell us a little bit about your character in working.
So I play a character named Teresa, and she's a nanny for a 5-year-old girl. And I have a song, a duet, where I get to talk about that while I'm singing opposite of a guy who's playing a caretaker for an elderly man.
So you have more than one person on stage for your performance.
Yes, it's me and one other guy only.
Who is the other actor?
His name is Matthew.
Okay, so have you had an opportunity to interact a little bit more with Matthew, given all of the pandemic restrictions and everything, than maybe some of the other characters in this play?
Yeah, I didn't know Matthew prior to the show. However, we have had some time to interact with each other. We were in rehearsals together during that time, during the first 2 weeks or so, when we were all separated during rehearsal by our songs. Matthew and I did get to talk a little bit because we were the only people there at the time.
What is the dynamic between your two? I keep calling them characters, but again, these are based on real-life people. What is the dynamic like between nanny and a caretaker?
It's very interesting because the characters are, or the people, as you said, they're very different, but the song is bringing attention to the fact that even though they're dealing with a young child or an older person, they're very similar in the fact that they're taking care of someone who, for whatever reason, the family of these people cannot or will not take care of them, and they feel pride in their jobs, but they are kind of sad that the people who normally would be taking care of these people are not able to.
And really, the two jobs are quite similar.
Mm-hmm.
What did you learn from this production about your characters, about life, about anything?
I think it was just really interesting to hear all the different jobs, like even ones that I didn't get to hear until we actually all came together and started rehearsing, especially monologues, because I was able to listen to some of the songs on like YouTube. But the monologues, there's not a lot that you can find online about them. And so hearing how some of my castmates have been able to bring these characters to life, as Summer said, it's just really interesting because you wouldn't think about how these people really live their lives sometimes. They're jobs that just, I know that I don't personally come into contact with often.
And did you listen to the recordings of the interviews with Studs Terkel and the individuals?
I listened a little bit at the very beginning, but no, I probably didn't listen as much as I would have liked to.
Did Studs interview them separately, or would they have been together, or were they put together as a result of the production?
The book is
Individual stories. Yeah. So, tell us about your the performance part of this. You've got a background in singing?
Yes, I've been singing. I've been in choir since I was able to, like, I think it was 5th grade or something. So singing and acting in general is something that I've always been very interested in. And so I really liked, especially for this show, it was a great challenge because since it's such a segmented show, you have very little time where you're on stage where you get to convey your entire character. You don't have the luxury of a 2-hour show to show all that character development, so you have to really quickly nail your character and show exactly what they're portraying at the time.
Tell us about the song.
So my song is called A Very Good Day, and it is segmented into kind of what I think of as 3 parts, where Matthew, the caretaker character, comes out, he explains what his job is, and then I follow up explaining what my job as a nanny entails, and then we get to overlap, and that's when you really realize how similar the jobs are.
And how about you, Summer? Tell us about the song you sang.
Well, I don't have a song. Mine is just a monologue. I'm on stage with, I think, 4 other people in the cubicle scene. We're like in an office, and basically I'm saying in my monologue just like, like what I do in a day-to-day. Like I get there at 7:30, I leave at 8. I hate my boss. You know, it's like, but then I just kind of say like, you know, everyone. And something that Amanda really says is that jobs are not big enough for people. Like when you ask people like who they are, they define themselves with their jobs. But Amanda doesn't feel that way. She just she doesn't really want to put herself in a box and say, I work at this office. She just says like, I'm Amanda, but like, yes, I happen to work here, but it's not who I am.
You know, what's interesting is that your generation and perhaps the generation right above you looks at work a lot differently than previous generations, I'm told, in that there's a lot more job hopping. There's a lot more moving from one job to another, whereas the characters that you have spoken, or that you are inhabiting, are from a generation where you maybe had 1 or 2 jobs in your whole life. Is that... do you see that dynamic at all in your character? You talk about how she doesn't want to be defined by this office role, and it sounds like she's ready to, you know, take on the world and maybe have a dozen new jobs if she wants to. But at the same time, those opportunities weren't necessarily there, and the culture of America wasn't necessarily there.
Yeah, I think that she thinks that like she would like another job, but she doesn't really know what. And like if the opportunity were to come up, you know, she might take something else. But like overall, she's pretty content working at this office.
You know, here you are going out into the working world, perhaps in a few years. What are your thoughts? Has this helped shape your approach to what the working world is?
Yeah, somewhat in a way, because like you can get stuck in jobs that you don't like. There are a lot of characters. Most of the characters, I would say, in this show do not like their job, and there are a lot of like you can get stuck into like many jobs that you might not like, and there's always that hope that you can get another job and get something that you find a lot more interesting.
How about you, Reese?
Well, as you were finishing up what you were saying, Summer, I thought about one of the lines in the song that I sing. The lines are, one day my dreams are going to all come true. For now, I do what no one wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really encompasses a few of the characters, specifically my character, though I agree that my character probably sees her job as, this is something that I have to do. It's not necessarily what I want to do. I don't mind doing it. I enjoy doing it. But it is something that was not what I intended to do. But if no one else is going to do it, I have no problem taking over that situation.
How about your thoughts as you look ahead to potentially entering the working world? Has this colored that experience in any way, do you think, going into it?
It's definitely made me think about just how many jobs there are in the world, because I know that for me it's easy to get caught up in, oh yes, there's this big skyscraper, people work in that building, but then this show really makes you start to think about all the different layers. There were people who worked on steel to get the building made. There are people who work inside of the cubicles. There are receptionists. There are all sorts of jobs involved in there. And so, yeah, I think it's really interesting because it makes you think about all these different people have all these different lives.
Summer, why do you think people should check out Working, the video stream, which hits bdact.org tomorrow and runs through a matinee on Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, well, I think everybody is really going to enjoy it because it is something that a lot of people can relate to. Like, there's so many jobs listed in this show that, like, you're going to find some character that you can really, like, latch onto and, like, see yourself in almost, pretty much. And we've had a lot of fun, like, working on this show and just being together. So you can really see, like, the cast's enjoyment come through in all the songs and monologues. And, yeah, I think everybody's going to enjoy it.
Reese, how about you?
Something that I don't think we've talked about that I want to make sure people know is that even though it does have some very somber moments, it's a really funny show.
It is.
There's a lot of monologues that sometimes you can just, as we're backstage, we have all of the people, like the director and the choreographers in the audience watching us, and you can hear them just laughing up a storm because someone said a funny line or did a different action in their monologue, and it's really just fun to be involved in.
You know, I could see that. That's the thing about Studs Terkel, being able to find humor and humanity in everyday situations and not necessarily having to maybe do some type of slapstick thing to try to generate that laughter. I'm looking forward to seeing it. It's working. It's hitting the video stream at bdact.org tomorrow. Speaking of video streams, we are video streaming today's program. It's under the video tab at dailydodge.com. We've got a few more actors that we want to speak with here on the program, but we do want to thank Summer File and Reese Vichet for joining us in this segment. We'll take a break and be back here in just a few minutes.
Join Metalcraft of Mayville for Walk-In Wednesday interviews. That's right. From 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. every Wednesday, Metalcraft will interview you on the spot at their Mayville, West Bend, and Beaver Dam facilities. Metalcraft is currently seeking welders, assemblers, painters, and general production helpers. No experience required. Join a growing team that offers outstanding benefits, top wages, a regularly sanitized workplace, and air-conditioned production areas for the hot summer days ahead. Take the next step in your career and join Southern Wisconsin's premier manufacturer. Once again, Metalcraft of Mayville is holding walk-in interviews every Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. at their Mayville, West Bend, and Beaver Dam facilities. For more information, visit mtlcraft.com. That's mtlcraft.com. Metalcraft is an equal opportunity employer. Minorities, women, veterans, and persons with disabilities encouraged to apply.
I'm Dr. Alicia Arnold, an Eau Claire physician. When patients ask me, should most people get a COVID-19 vaccine? My answer is yes. The vaccines are safe, and getting one is important. Ask your family doctor what they think.
Hi, it's Tori DeVito. Small conversations can have a big impact on your child's decision to not drink alcohol and use other drugs. For tips and other resources on having a conversation, visit talktheyhearyou at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
The Supreme Court issued a decision and a blow to farm labor unions in the largest ag-producing state.
In a 6-3 decision, the Supreme Court negated a California regulation that had given labor organizers a right to access farm property to meet with workers when they're off clock. Union officials argued it was essential to communicate with a highly transient workforce, but the court said it amounted to an unlawful government-authorized invasion of property without compensation. The decision could make it harder to organize migrant workers and potentially harder to regulate health and safety conditions.
ABC's Aaron Katersky. Vice President Kamala Harris will make her first visit to the U.S.-Mexico border this Friday since taking office. She'll visit El Paso, Texas with Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. She's heading the administration's efforts to curb the influx of migrants. In Washington, D.C., 4 people are hospitalized after a pedestrian bridge collapsed over I-95 at Kenilworth Avenue. Authorities have not said what caused that collapse. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Legally, I was blind in that eye.
Pamela was nervous. Cataract surgery was the only option that would restore her vision, so she saw the surgeons at Vita Park Eye Associates.
I was very, very apprehensive. I'm like, oh my goodness. You know, I mean, we're talking my eyesight here. What if something goes wrong, and what if it's worse? After it was like my youngest grandson was playing in the outfield, and when he turned, I could read the name on his jersey. Everybody at that facility was just really, really kind and considerate, and they talked me through it, and the results were awesome. I just really can't say enough about how they took me as an individual and talked me through it, and I had such good results that I would certainly recommend this to anybody who's considering having this done.
For more information about eye surgery, visit VitaParkEye.com.
Here at Geico, we know you've got your reasons for boating. Maybe it's because you pride yourself on how well you know all the water-dwelling fauna.
And that is a great fin dolphin shark.
Even if you don't really know what you're talking about.
Oh, and up there you'll see some white-winged bird chirpers.
Whatever reason you boat, it's great knowing how easy it is to switch to Geico. And you could save money, too, which would give anyone a sense of confidence out on the water, even this guy.
Ooh, that's a Skippy flipper flopper. I love those things.
Geico for your boat. Go to geico.com to see how much you could save.
In the old days, there was a form of entertainment called live music.
where throngs of people enjoyed libations and danced together. On the weekend of Saturday, July 10th, the Best Damn Fest in Beaver Dam is resurrecting this ancient tradition. Ben and Tanya Break at Riverfront Wine Bar, Tom Winkers and the Characters at Uga Brewery, and Whiskey Flats, Totally Neon in Madison County at Stormy's Main Stage. Welcome back, live music at the Best Damn Fest. Find the whole list and times at bestdamnfest.com.
It's the Military Appreciation Sale at Fleet Farm. All veterans and active military receive an additional 10% off their purchase. This week, save on things like 1-pound bags of whole cashews or deluxe mixed nuts, just $5.49. A Charbroil 5-burner gas grill is only $229.99. And Pepsi 6-packs are 3 for $9. Don't forget, veterans and active military save an additional 10% off their purchases during our Military Appreciation Sale. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
24 minutes past 1 o'clock, and now more community comment with Craig.
And we're back here on Community Comment. Our guests are with the Beaver Dam Area Community Theater. Here, part of the video stream of the Daily Dodge Television Studios. If you want to watch today's program, go to the video tab at dailydodge.com. You can watch it live, or you can watch back at a later time. So we've got, the show is called Working. It was written by Studs Terkel. Well, it wasn't written by Studs Terkel. It's based on interviews that the legendary Pulitzer Prize-winning broadcaster and journalist from Chicago had conducted with people in various different capacities of work. And our guests here are in a play that encapsulates all that and is going to be on stage tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday, and then with a matinee on Sunday. It's a video stream at bdact.org. We've got here in this segment joining us Cohen Jekyll and Natalie Dibert. Dibert,
yeah.
Oh, I had it right the first time. I should give. Thank you so much for joining us today,
Thank you
guys.
for having us.
Thank you.
So very exciting. You've got, what, one day before opening night? Are you all ready?
Yeah, I think we've really, I know Mr. Lefebvre talked about it before, but we really kind of set it all back late, but I think we kind of got a good show with us.
Yeah, it's definitely where we're supposed to be. I feel like all of us are becoming very, very confident now that shows are tomorrow.
Kind of have to be confident.
Yeah, I think we're all just like putting in like the final few things, fixing and tweaking the last few things, cleaning up the last few of the numbers, and then we should be pretty good.
Great. And you're in the new theater. Have you guys, you're both from Beaver Dam. You both graduated from Beaver Dam High School. Had you guys grown up in the old community theater building? Did you do theater before this?
I originally did Footloose a couple of years back. And that was the last summer show that we did, and that was also the first time I was in there, but it was just, I got used to it, and it was just nice to...
Yeah, my first show was actually a Telltale show, and that was the Rock and Tail Snow White back a while ago. So I only did that one, and then I didn't do my next musical until Newsies in the new theater. So
okay, all right, very good. Yeah. And what a change it is, though, from
theater
to
definitely.
theater. How was the Newsies experience for you guys? Is that what brought you back this year to...
I personally wasn't in Newsies. I was in Germany, so...
We'll forgive you for that then.
Oh, well, yeah, I loved Newsies, and I was ready to come back for next summer to do a summer show, and I was excited to do that one, but unfortunately COVID did not allow that. So, but yeah, I was really excited to, get back into the feel of things, maybe feel a little bit more normal, but alas, but here we are.
Well, what is the theater meant for you? Why do it again? What is it that you like about it?
I think personally, when I started doing theater again in high school, I think it was just meeting a lot new people and people that I can click with more, because performance has always been a huge thing in my life, because I've been a dancer for 13 and now going to college for it. So performing has always just been a really big thing in my life. And then theater, finding those people who also love to perform, I think that was just what brought me into it.
How about you, Cohen?
I personally didn't get into it until freshman year, but as soon as I finished my first production of Grease, I just fell in love with everything about it. You got so close to everyone in the cast, and as well, you also just got to do things you normally weren't like comfortable with. Like if you asked me like 2 years ago if I would be like performing as a retiree this year, I would never.
Well, let's jump in right there. What do you say? So, so who is it that you play in Working?
So I am Joe Zuddy. He is a retired firefighter, and in his song, he talks about his day in a life of being retired. He lives by himself. His wife passed away from the sounds of the song. He doesn't really like give it away, but I mean it does kind of give it away actually. But he lives by himself, and he just kind of like, the song is like what he does in a day, like from waking up at 10 to setting his alarm at night.
And the pacing of your segment, I was told in between segments, is a little bit different than the pacing of some of the other segments.
Yeah, it's interesting. It kind of goes back and forth. There's like two different kind of like tempo sections. Like the slow tempo, it like does 2 measures of singing and then 2 measures of like talking and kind of like explaining what I just kind of sung about. But then there's also like a upbeat kind of tempo where he kind of reminisces on his life when he was younger.
And you are playing an older character. Tell us about that experience. What is that like? How do you present that? How do you get into that character?
When we first were, or when I was first learning it, it was definitely a challenge to kind of like walk the line of like playing an older guy, but like without like making fun of like the older community that we have. But like I think we kind of were able to walk that line pretty well, I think, because we were able to like add some like kind of like comedic parts, especially in the beginning. But we were also able to kind of like have like the very like serious and like upbeat kind of vibe that is Joe.
Do you model your character after anyone you know, after anyone you've seen?
Me and Mr. Lefebvre kind of determined it as Bernie Sanders.
Oh, okay. All right, so you have mittens and then the... No mittens, I'm guessing.
No mittens, no.
All right. So, now do you take a physical approach to this character as well in terms of costuming or anything?
Yeah, we kind of, we embrace kind of like the older fashion that kind of was like back in the time, back of like the interviews and all that too. We kind of like delve into the makeup too. We use a lot of eyeliner to like make the wrinkles, face paint to kind of whiten up my hair. We use a cane too. That's always a fun little prop.
Pocket watch.
Did you listen to the interview that Studs had with Mr. Zuddy?
I didn't. I just found that a lot of the music itself gave me enough answers to like figure out stuff about Joe in general.
Sure. Yeah, it doesn't seem like something that is required of the actor. In fact, it seems like in some cases it's better not to.
I think personally for me, a lot of answers I was looking for about character development were like, I could like listen to a recording or I could just read the music and kind of like find the answers I was looking for, because he's very like open with what he does in a day.
What's been the biggest challenge for you with this?
It's a very long song with like not a lot of repeating ideas, so memorizing it was a big issue for me. I think it was just Saturday that I finally was able to consistently get it.
So maybe a few crib notes on the stage. We're not going to say one way or the other. So it is Joe Zuddy and played by Cohen Jekyll. Natalie Dibert plays Maggie Holmes.
Yes.
Who is Maggie Holmes?
Maggie Holmes is a cleaning lady or a cleaning woman. That is the name of her song, is Cleaning Woman. And basically her entire story is that she's grown up in the cleaning business. Her mom was a cleaning woman. Her grandmother was a cleaning woman. And she makes that very apparent in like her first beginning, right before the song. She grew up in the South, and something fun that I had to
work with was having an accent.
You did. You went with the Southern drawl.
I went with the Southern accent.
Had you ever done it before?
No, I think this character was probably the one that I did the most research for, and I wanted to be as prepared as I could and try to really dive into all of the things of like getting to know my character. And yeah, but she goes on to say about her daughter. She now has a daughter, and she doesn't want her daughter going into this business. She's, as she says, she's got a daughter with a head on her shoulders. So, and she really wants her to go above and beyond than just being a cleaning woman. And if she does, then that's all she wants before she gets done with her job.
The
so
wings give out.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a little bit on the older side too, so she plays off a few words, but she's very sassy.
Where did you get the accent? Did you listen to the tapes? Did you listen to other people that are from the South? Did she live her whole life in the South and then move to Chicago later in life, or did she get a little Chicago accent in there too?
See, her beginning statement, just like, I would like to always write songs. Sorry, I'll go back a little bit, but her beginning monologue begins with her saying she always wanted to play the piano, but she wasn't able to do that, and she'd write songs and things about her life growing up in the South and all of that stuff. So I would like to think that she probably grew up in the South and then moved to Chicago trying to get a better life. So yeah.
Did you gain any insights into the working world from this production, from your character?
Oh, definitely. I think I now look at like a lot of 9-to-5 jobs like very differently, and it's like, especially I think the way some of the monologues, like with their attitude, they also say like whether they like their job, they hate their job, it's an okay job. I think I really got the understanding and feeling of some of the jobs, really.
Cohen, tell our listeners why you think they should check out Working, the video stream that hits bdact.org tomorrow at Thursday and runs, what is it, 7 o'clock or 7:30? 7:30, and then you got a 2 p.m. matinee on Sunday. Why should our listeners make it a point to get one of these tickets?
We've personally, pun intended, we've been working really hard on it. And I think a lot of the cast has, especially in the last couple weeks, we've really stepped up our game, and we've kind of really, because at first, like in the beginning of June, we were very kind of like not where we should be, but we kind of stepped up our game, especially in these last couple weeks where we've been running the full show like pretty much every day, and I think we've just, gonna say it again, working really hard on it.
Natalie, you've been working really hard, it sounds like, on this production. Why should our listeners make it a point to check it out?
I think something that like we just haven't mentioned was the choreography for this show is something really something different. I think the choreography definitely, like our show, like stepped up a whole nother level, and Dobratz really did a really good job, like making sure everyone was comfortable, and we got some big numbers, and you shouldn't miss them.
Yeah, you can catch it in the comfort of your own home. You go to bdact.org for all the information again. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 7:30 with a 2 p.m. Sunday matinee. Got another guest or two waiting in the corner here. We do have to take a break. Thank you guys very much for joining us on this segment.
Thank you.
Once again, that is Cohen Jekyll and Natalie Dybert of Beaver Dam. We'll take a break and be back here in just a few minutes on Community Comment.
We've all made use of some extra time at home. We've used it to become experts working at home, shopping at home, dining out at home. So while you're banking at home, maybe you should use a little of that extra time to save money. Consider switching your checking over to Landmark Credit Union. All of our checking accounts are free, and you can choose to get paid interest on your balance or earn rewards points on your purchases. It will be worth your time. Start at landmarkcu.com. Landmark Credit Union. You're worth more here. Interest paid in the form of dividends insured by NCUA.
With so many great bargains this week at Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly, it's hard to decide where to start. We're going to start with 1 dozen grade A large eggs, 79 cents a dozen. Food Club Chunker shredded cheese, $2.99. Bicolor sweet corn, just 24 cents an ear. The 1-pound package of California premium strawberries, $1.49. Select Yoplait yogurt, 39 cents each. Kem's ice cream, just $2.99. Pepsi or Mountain Dew, $5.99. Nor pasta or rice sides, 4 for $5. And Palermo's thin crust pizza, just $1.99. And hey, something really exciting coming up this weekend. Stormin' Gorman Thomas will be back at Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly to talk more about his Stormin' sauce. The demo starts at 10:30, so come on out and meet the legend himself, Stormin' Gorman Thomas, and try some of his fantastic sauce this Saturday at 10:30 at Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly on the beautiful east side of Beaver Dam. Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly, better prices, better selection. You better go. It's our 23rd year. That's right, the 23rd annual Good Karma Brands John Moser Children's Radiothon, which raises funds for local children's nonprofit organizations. Now, over the years, we've raised over $2 million for local children, and we could not have done it without the support of local businesses and community members throughout Dodge County. This year's event will be held, rain or shine, beginning on Thursday, September 16th at 6 a.m. and conclude at 9 a.m. on Friday, September 17th. We are seeking items to include on our live on-air auctions. Now, in addition to contributing to this worthy cause, you'll also receive on-air exposure as we auction your items off. If you're interested in donating an on-air auction item, please call or email Taylor Krieger at 920-885-4442 or tkrieger@goodkarmabrands.com. And we ask that please all auction items be submitted by July 16th. Thank you.
From the Metalcraft Studios, you're listening to AM 1430 WBEV, streaming online at dailydodge.com.
It is 20 minutes before 2 o'clock, and now back to Community Comment.
And we're back here on Community Comment with the next generation here in the Daily Dodge Television studio, streaming live today on the video tab at dailydodge.com. If you're listening to us on AM 1430 WBEV, maybe you're listening to us on Alexa or listening to us directly through dailydodge.com, go over the video tab and you can watch today's program or watch it back later. In fact, this is the very same presentation that our guests are going to be doing themselves. They're doing their own video stream. They are with the Beaver Dam Area Community Theater, and these streams are tomorrow, Friday and Saturday at 7:30, Sunday at 2 o'clock, $20, and you get as many people in your house as you want to be able to watch that movie. You cannot rebroadcast, though, without the express written consent of Mark Lefebvre, our guest here on this segment of Community Comment, along with Olivia Laffler, who is the conductor of Working. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining us for the first time, Olivia, and thanks. It's good to have you back, Mark.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
So, again, it is called Working. It is based on interviews that Pulitzer Prize-winning broadcaster Studs Terkel had conducted over the years, and it was put into a musical format. Olivia, you are the musical part of this. You are the conductor of the orchestra.
Yes. This is my first time conducting a pit orchestra, and I've had a lot of fun with it. I've always been in pit orchestras. I think this is either my 8th or 9th show, but it's a different part. It's a whole different world, being in charge of everybody and seeing the stage. You actually don't have to just look at your music the whole time.
Tell us about the music in this.
This music, it ranges a lot. There's rock, folk,
like a little bit of salsa
sometimes.
sometimes.
There's a waltz, pretty much.
Yeah, it's.
You can't get too comfortable with it. You're always gotta be on your toes and ready for the next song.
What is your musical background?
I've played piano for over 10 years, trumpet for 8, and I'll be going to Eau Claire in the fall for a trumpet performance degree.
Oh, is that right? Excellent. Very good. So music is really something that's second nature to you. But your first time conducting.
Yes.
So that's a challenge.
It is. I've only conducted the marching band at the Beaver Dam High School twice before, and that you don't do very much. You just sit and you lead the band. But leading the pit orchestra, you're in charge of cueing the singers, leading the band out of, they're called vamps, so you're waiting for somebody to be done with a monologue, or they have to sing a specific word and then you can move on.
that's been a whole another challenge of lining everybody up and making sure it all sounds good.
And so no musical instruments for you. Your musical instruments are your hands.
Yes.
And is it how does it work? Explain it to a layperson like me. How does orchestrating, conducting work? What is it you're doing with your hands? I don't get it.
Well, you are keeping the tempo, you're keeping the beat so they know, or nobody gets lost or off. I've found myself breathing with the singers almost. Like, they're going to come in, so I'm going to take a big breath and with them so they know this, hey, you're coming in to sing now. Or even with the instrumentalists, be like, okay, here's the next big part. Help them get ready for it.
Who are some of the conductors that you've worked with at the high school? Or have you not had anybody? Have you just figured this all out on your own?
No, Mr. Lefevre has been a great help. I've been in choir with him for 2 years, I think. And also Russell Dickens, he directs band at the high school. I've been in band for 4 years there. So just watching them and thinking like, oh, I remember seeing them doing this during a concert, during a musical. I know it works well because I've been able to follow them. I'm going to cue it. And it's been really great that I can just ask questions, and he's super understanding and helpful. So it's not scary for me for the first time.
Is every movement that a conductor makes a deliberate movement? Or are you just dancing every once in a while?
Well, it's deliberate, but there are a couple songs where, like, as I'm doing it, I'm, like, rocking out with everybody. Because some of the songs are such high energy, and you can't stop yourself from having fun just because you're in charge. You gotta have a little bit of fun.
That's not something we taught. We slipped in the fact that, oh yeah, this is also incredibly funny, but there's also a lot of high energy music in this.
Yes. The band will be doing a lot, like everyone's playing a pretty hard rhythm or something, or the singers are all doing a really crazy dance move, and you gotta go with it. You can't sit there just all sad and just waving your arms a little. You gotta be big, you gotta reflect what's happening on stage.
Of course. What has been the biggest challenge for you?
I'd say just getting comfortable with it, for this being my first time. Was a lot of unknowns at the beginning, but now I really am starting to understand, like, okay, this happens, or like the whole process of it all.
I've got a degree in music education and 5 years of undergrad work, and I took a bunch of classes to learn how to conduct and came out of them and didn't necessarily even feel like I knew what I was doing. And 10 years in the profession now, feel like I'm doing pretty okay at it. But for somebody who I was like, okay, and now you just wave your hands. And you ask, is every movement intentional? Kind of. They become, I think, and I think, Olivia, you're probably at the point where like a 4/4 pattern is second nature to you. Yeah. You don't need to think down, in, out, up every single time. That becomes natural to us. But it is still intentional. If for some reason she goes down, out, in, that might throw off somebody in the pit. They might not, like, hold on, what's going on? Something's weird. So even though it becomes kind of second nature to us, it is still intentional. And she was talking about coming out of those vamps, like giving that big gesture. That's, sometimes when you're still thinking about the down, in, out, up, down, in, like, okay, and now this one has to be a big one. Like, there are, there's some challenges. And I every now and then I'll, send a text. I'll just swing by and be like, can I give you a suggestion quick? Because it's a lot. We got a little rehearsal tonight, but I'm kind of done now. I don't do anything through performances, and Olivia's kind of the one in charge of, I don't know, out of anybody else, I'd kind of say you're the one, right, who's in charge of what's, the show starts, the sound guy's going to push a button, he's going to hear some sounds, and then Olivia, like, she's got to go. And there's no, oh, hold on, I screwed up, we got to go, like, you go once you hit a performance.
No pressure, Olivia.
No. And that definitely freaked me out the first couple times, and thinking about, okay, I have to do a big cue, but now it's just like, okay, go rocking with the music. But I'm definitely used to it now, and be like, okay, I got this.
You've been on the other side of it though, so
right.
That's got to help.
Yes, doing that has definitely been super helpful, because I know what the pit members can be thinking, or like, okay, is she gonna do this? Or there's been times where it's like, oh, I wish they would do that, so I've taken that in and I've done it myself while I'm conducting, because I know at least if I was playing, I'd appreciate it.
Tell us about the other musicians in pit with you.
We have one other high schooler in the pit. His name is Zach Johnson. He's playing the drums. And then the rest of the pit is all adults from the community who are,
rocking. Like,
yeah,
they're
they're
really
awesome.
good. It's awesome. Got,
and they're all like 20 plus years older.
Yeah.
Or have
actually,
a longer experience.
They're all local vocals members, if you're familiar with that group. Tanya
Jeff?
Diggins, Tanya's playing piano, Jeff Rose is playing bass for us, and then Ben Gramsch is on guitar. And just they're challenged by some of the music. That was fun to see. You know, Ben and Jeff especially. I feel like you can give them anything and they'll just play the snot out of it. But there's a couple where they're like, yeah, I think we might need to practice that one. So in the last couple of weeks, Tanya Diggins has been coming in to let Olivia be able to. Olivia was our rehearsal accompanist throughout the process, but then the last couple of weeks, Tanya's sort of come in so she could practice music, but also gives Olivia the chance to practice the conducting. Whereas, you know, some of us who've been conducting a little bit longer, me wouldn't need quite as many repetitions on it. It's been fun working with that a bunch.
Got 5 in the pit being conducted by Olivia Laffler, and then how many, we've got 4 performers here today. How many performers are there in total?
We got a little over 40.
Okay, excellent, very good. And that's a challenge in and of itself, I imagine, herding all those cats.
Absolutely. But I mean, these kids, they're dedicating a part of their summer to doing theater, so it's not like I'm pulling teeth, you know, trying to get them to do stuff. They're there, they want to be there, they want to be doing the work. You know, we've all got the same goal, so yeah, it can be a bit of a challenge. And I mean, these kids they're the involved students, right? They're the ones who are picking up a summer job to help pay for a lot of them, you know, heading off to a university in the fall, you know, the graduates, or with COVID messing up our sports schedule. I mean, the softball team's playing a game tonight.
Yeah.
Right. So working around those schedules and, you know, Key Club and NHS, like activities, things got, this year especially, got a little bit shifted around. So I feel like that side, more than just like working with high schoolers, I'm used to working with high schoolers. You know, when they're there, it's making, you know, trying to make a schedule where I can get everybody to rehearsals. That could be the challenge.
And Olivia is conducting some very interesting music. We haven't talked about this yet. Who's behind some, you know, we talked about Studs Terkel, the Pulitzer Prize winning Chicago broadcaster whose interviews are the basis of so much of what we're seeing. Who's behind the music?
So Stephen Schwartz, who wrote, I think Wicked is his biggest show that you might know him from, but he's also done Godspell, Children of Eden, Pippin. So he's the one that sort of was the brains of the operation, but he brought in a whole bunch of different people to work on the show. Mary Rogers, the daughter of noted composer Richard Rogers of Rodgers and Hammerstein, Rodgers and Hart fame, she also wrote Once Upon a Mattress. She wrote the novel Freaky Friday, which became the movie and a musical. So she helped out writing the show. The one that I think listeners might be interested in, James Taylor actually wrote a handful of the songs. One of the ones that the students enjoyed dancing backstage, Brother Trucker. And I did say that correctly, Brother Trucker. He wrote that song, and that's a lot of fun. And then we're actually doing the 2012 revision of the musical.
Okay.
And in 2012, it got reworked a little bit. Some songs were cut, some songs were added. And I think the big name that people will recognize is Lin-Manuel Miranda added to the songs. Actually, Reese's duet was written. And if you listen to it, like, you'll be like, oh, that sounds like some of the slower songs in Hamilton. If you've been to the movie theater recently and saw In the Heights, which just came out, the second song second song called Delivery feels like it was cut from In the Heights to me. Like, that's where a little bit of that salsa feel that we were talking about comes in. So yeah, Lin-Manuel added some to the show, and then a handful of others too. And like, if I actually in our program have biographies, trimmed down versions, because awards after awards for many of these people participating in a whole bunch of on stage, backstage, theatrical production. So yeah, it took a whole army to kind of write this show.
And do you have a favorite song out of all of these different performers, all these different musicians? What do you like to conduct the most?
That is a great question, because there's
all the actors are off camera right now saying that it must be their song.
I'd say the song Mr. Lefevre mentioned before, Brother Trucker, is one of my favorite to conduct, just because the energy everybody's giving off is so high and they're having so much fun, and it's just one of my favorites. But you can't pick an all-time favorite. I'd say each song has their little bits that I love to conduct, love to listen to.
Has the subject matter of the working world down in the pit, is that something that you're able to observe, and what might you have taken from the thematic elements of the play?
There's a couple that I've related to, or I've known people who have worked those jobs, and it's like, oh, that's a whole different perspective than what I've personally thought about. And I know I've thought about some of the things, or the song delivery, like a high schooler working a fast food job or a retail job. I'm a cashier at Rechex Food Pride, so I've had some of those same thoughts, or like just everyone can relate to it too. And I know, like, there's a song where a teacher is singing. My grandma was a teacher. It's like, oh, that's interesting to think about, and interesting to hear what these adults in the pit talk about too. They're like, oh, like I know that, or that sounds like my job.
Interesting. Finally today, Olivia, why do you think folks should make it a point to check out one of the streams on bdact.org of Working?
Like Summer had said before, everybody in this show, there's something for everybody to relate to, or that they can pick out and like take with them after the show is finished. It's easy to relate to, and this music is awesome too. It'll be stuck in your head for sure.
Excellent. Mark, wrap it all up for us. With Mr. Lefebvre.
I'm always so proud of the work that these students do. I know sometimes people might think, I don't want to go see a high school production. They're just high schoolers. They're not going to be that great. You will always be wrong, in my opinion. These high schoolers, they're doing good work. And I love seeing, it's awesome having Olivia on today, from the pit orchestra. We've got our light designer is a high schooler. We've got there's students everywhere helping out with the show, and just proud to see them come together and make some amazing music. You asked Olivia her favorite song. It's probably not my favorite song, but I gotta say my favorite moment in almost every show is like the cutoff of the end of the show. Like tomorrow night, once we finish that it'll be 8:50. It's 100 minutes, like almost exactly every single night. It's crazy, but that cutoff and just the pride on their faces. Then it's appropriate that this song is about being proud of the work that you do. The students will be, I think, proud of the work that they have done in this musical, but all of us, I think, whether we love our jobs or maybe it's not where we want to end up in the long term or something. I don't know. I feel like both of us have been doing our gigs for a while, and we're happy with what we're doing. But there's got to be some sense of pride in what we're doing.
Excellent. Well, I'm really happy that you guys came to the program today and shared your stories with us, and we're really looking forward to being able to see this on the video stream. Again, it's bdact.org. $20, and you can watch it live stream 7:30 tomorrow, Friday and Saturday, 2 p.m. Sunday matinee. Did I leave anything out? I think we covered all the bases.
I don't think so.
Well, I want to thank all of our guests for joining us on today's program. We've got Summer File, Reese Vache, Cohen Jekyll, Natalie Dybert, Olivia Laffler, and of course Mark Lefebvre. We want to thank him very much for joining us on today's. Thank you so much. And are you teaching French again this?
It's still not a French last name.
It is not.
It's still not.
I'm sorry, Mark Lefebvre. Thank you, Mark, for coming.
Yeah.
We love it every time. That's going to do it for today's community comment.
From the Metalcraft Studios, this is AM 1430 WBEV Beaver Dam, streaming online at dailydodge.com.
Coming up at 2:09, it's Jeff Hall and This Day in Rock and Roll History on AM 1430 WBEV, your home for fun hits of the 50s through the 80s.